volunteer between 600 and 800 hours a year to the community. And COVID has definitely changed that quite a bit, but there are still ways that you can give back to your community. So just checking in on your friends is really an important thing to do, your friends, your coworkers, your colleagues. Donating to nonprofits. Nonprofits have lost so many of their volunteers and supporters. So just being able to write a check to them will definitely help them continue their efforts in the community, and they need us more than ever right now. Exploring remote volunteer opportunities. So I've put a lot of packages and sorted things in my home. That's something that you can do. Delivering food to food banks and doing a collection. I always like to find ways where you can incorporate giving into your business. So if you go door to door, door knocking, you can say, hey, I'm your community expert. I live in the area. I'm also collecting for the food bank in our community. I'm going to be back in 1 week if you'd like to fill up this bag. It gives you more reason to talk to them instead of them just slamming the door on your face. That's a great way to incorporate giving. Right now is Halloween. You can be collecting costumes, you know, Thanksgiving, holidays are coming up. Find ways to incorporate giving into your business plan. Delivering meals to the elderly or groceries or people who are sick is really good. If you don't want to do that face-to-face, you can use like Instacart or Grubhub, things like that. Donating blood is really big right now. There's a big shortage of blood that is definitely needed in our healthcare arena. And so if you can do that, please donate blood. And then just collecting supplies for healthcare providers. Those are just some things that you can do during COVID-19. And for me, I have had giving in my business for about 10 years. I have always donated a portion of my commission to charity and as well volunteered my time. It's really my true passion. It's what gets me up every day. It motivates me to sell houses because I have a community that's depending on my financial checks that I write to them every month, and also the time that I can give to them. So for me, that's really important. And before I was in real estate, I was exploring working in social services and in the nonprofit arena, and I found a way to incorporate that into real estate, and all of you can do that as well. I know, like, from a consumer's perspective, a consumer is more likely to work with someone who's giving back and doing good than someone who's not. So I always like to think about it as the ripple effect, and don't give back just to get business. That's not the reason to do it. And you really shouldn't boast about it too much. Like, just do it because it's the right thing to do. And I've never had to worry about where my business is coming, when my phone's gonna ring. It just comes. And I really think when you put good out in the universe, good comes back to you tenfold. So just kind of keep that in mind. You know, giving is good business. It's our social responsibility. It's important for us to do. And I know, like, in the real estate industry, if we're just talking about the givers in our industry, there's like a select 200 to 300 people that attend every event, volunteer their time. We are all the givers on this call, you know, so keep doing what you're doing. Help one another as far as professionals. Anyone who gives me a call, I'm there to talk to them. So giving can be not just monetary donations, your time to either the community or the industry, but it can be, you know, someone who's giving good advice, helping one another. You know, you want to be that person, giving back. Just it's very important. The more that we do it, the more that we set an example in our industry, more will follow. So keep doing what you're doing. I don't know if you have any questions, but this is how I've built my business. My team members, we all volunteer together on a monthly basis. When I had a brokerage, we did the same thing. So just the more you do, the better our communities are going to be. And like Mr. Rogers said, look for the helpers. You know, in times of distress, we are living through a global pandemic, and the helpers are the ones who you should be looking to right now and being yourself. So that's all I hope to do, is inspire each of you to do the same. I know that this works. You definitely don't have to cold call or do things like that, because the business just comes, you know, just because you're pure example. So I don't know. Do you want me to keep talking?
Well, Leila, you know, honestly, what we're going to do is we're going to have questions at the very end. So I hope you guys wrote down some things to ask Leila after we hear all of our amazing presenters speak. And what I love about what you just said, number one, is something that we've been learning through conventions, and all this whole audience goes to these amazing conventions in person when we go. And you just said what Mr. Rogers inspires you is to look for the helpers. And what we always learn is that a movement takes one follower. As a leader, you're looking for that first follower to create a movement. So Leila, thank you for creating a movement today. And we will get back to you with questions. So you're not off the hook. We just have 3 more lovely ladies.
Good.
So thank you. All right. And with that, hey, GOAT President AAR, Mary Roberts, would you like to start your presentation?
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you, Mandy. I appreciate you. And Michelle Lynn would appreciate you recognizing the GOAT in me. What I'm going to talk about today is, and Leila, you did a great job talking about giving back to our communities and things, but I'm looking at giving back to our organization. And my biggest thing in giving back to our organization is, as a true leader, one of the prime things that you should be doing in your leadership is finding those to follow behind you. It's not about what you're doing in your current year. You know, things are going to happen. You're going to take care of anything that comes up and do things, but be on the lookout for those that can come behind you and recognize those people. I think all of us, how many of you that are in, and I recognize almost everybody on this call that is in leadership, how many of you were asked to become a leader, asked to become involved in leadership? So everybody was involved. You know, I started in our local women's council of realtors, and somebody asked me, do you want to run for VP of membership? I'm like, me? Really? And here we are 10 years later, and I'm president of the Arizona Realtors. I never intended back in 2008-9 to, never even thought of becoming a leader. Of course, my dad was the past leader of our local associations, and I was in high school leadership, so it's not totally out of the question, but never thought of it. And I obviously never thought I'd become president of the Arizona Realtors. So my talk today is about empowerment. This is the one thing that's truly in my heart, is empowering others to become involved, to recognize in other people what they have. The definition of empowerment is the power given to someone to do something. So just by taking a moment to call somebody, I usually like to have them come in my office. I shut the door, and unless they say yes, they can't get out of my office. Just teasing. But no, I like to sit down with them and recognize why I see it. Don't just call somebody and ask them, hey, do you want to run for this office? Or, hey, do you want to be on the board of directors? But talk to them of what you see in them. Because nobody at a meeting, if you're sitting at a meeting with people, who wants to run for the board of directors? Nobody's going to raise their hand and say, I'm going to, because nobody sees it in themselves. But once somebody else recognizes that quality in them, they are much more likely. And I have a lot of people, and you know, I live in a small community, so of course I know most of the realtors in Havasu. I have a lot of people who have gone through leadership that, you know, thank me for asking them to get involved, because they never saw it in themselves, or they just never wanted to step forward. We always think there might be somebody better than us that's more suited for us to do something. But everybody has their own qualities that they can bring to an organization. Because this is sponsored by Women's Council of Realtors, the mission statement of Women's Council is we're a network of successful realtors advancing women as business leaders in the industry and the communities we serve. So us women, we're out there. We should be reaching out to not just the men in our community, but women. Really empower these women to get involved, empower them to step up in the community, step up in our industry, up in the leadership of our industry, to get involved. We have a lot to say. We have a lot of knowledge. You know, most of if you look at a percentage of realtors in the state, you know, a greater percentage are women. So make sure that you're reaching out to these women and empowering them and giving them the strength to go forward. How you identify, the biggest thing, and I've always done this, you know, for the past few years, is if you want somebody to get involved, get those people that have done that position to help you identify people. You know, if somebody asks me, hey, do you want to run for the medical board of directors? I'm going to be like, what am I going to do? I don't know anything about it. You know, and somebody could say, well, I think you'll be really good. And I'm like, well, no, I don't, you know, but if you're a realtor, talk to them about what it takes. Be honest with them with what it takes. And the one best thing that I can do with people is when I talk to people, they're gonna be like, I don't have time for this, and this, what's it gonna do for me? I can tell you immensely what I get so much business out of having become a leader. So many referrals, just, you know, you go on Facebook and somebody asks who's in Lake Havasu. A lot of people, you know, hey, Mary Roberts, pick Mary Roberts. You know, now with my son working with me, and a lot of you know him, we get a lot of referrals from all over the country because of being in leadership and getting out there and talking to people. So as Women's Council members, most of us are, the task is to ask. Make sure you go through, get those people that you think are good, talk to them, have more than one people talk to them about becoming involved, and get those people that have been in the leadership roles to help you talk to these people so that they can honestly tell them what it takes. Another great aspect that you need to have with them is always to let them know, if you ever have any questions, I'm here for you. You know, you don't want to squash them down and feel like you have to, hey, what happened at the board of directors? And, you know, why did you do this? And let them, once you've identified them, they've stepped up, let them do their thing. Obviously, if you think they're a good person for leadership, you have to trust in them, and you have to give them that strength that you trust that what they're going to do is good. But, you know, make sure that you say, my door is always open. Call me anytime. I will be here for you. Especially being in Women's Council leadership. When I was running for this position, I always said, don't do a position for your local board before you do Women's Council, because you get really spoiled with a board because you have staff members that do things for you. Whereas Women's Council, you are your own staff member. So, so with Women's Council, and it's very important, especially now during COVID, that some of these new leaders coming up, and Cindy Reddy's on this call and she'll know my feelings is, you know, the national always changes things because they think it's going to be better. And, you know, some of the chapters needed this and that. And, you know, Havasu always had a really strong chapter. And I loved the length of, you know, the 4 different line officers that we had at that point building up. Nowadays, there's a little bit less, you know, and so we have a new president coming in that did not get to go back to Chicago, even for the local associations, to get that help. So now it's more important than ever for us past leaders or leaders at any capacity to reach out to these incoming and make sure that we're a source to help them through these times. Because it can be really scary of what do we need to do? You know, are we going to have open meetings even? So reach out and just say, you know, if you have any questions about anything, bylaws or whatever, again, empower them, tell them that they can do it, but be there for their backing. So thank you very much. I hope if anyone has any questions, and again, my phone's always here. You can always call, text me about anything. I appreciate you all very much.
Thank you, Mary Roberts. And please don't leave, because you know we'll have a question later. But what I really loved about your speech was how you're saying that WCR's purpose has always been to engage and propel women in the industry. And it wasn't too long ago that real estate was 100% men. And now it's nearly 70% nationally women. And so I'd like to applaud all of us on this call for doing exactly what the mission is. And knowing that women, we are the cattiest people, honestly. Like, we're the fastest ones to be like, oh, honey, those shoes don't match that dress. But yet WCR has developed this culture to say, you know what? Remember, when leading, don't speak poorly. Don't speak badly about your fellow leaders or your members, but know that we're united together. So Mary Roberts, thank you for really shining through and bringing that to the level of the state right now and making us all feel it through your leadership. We so appreciate you. Marlene, you okay, guys? You might see a small package out there, but I'm going to tell you, it has a big impact and a big force behind it. So Marlene, let's turn it over to you and see what you have for us.
Thank you, Mandy. As always, thank you everybody for allowing me to be here with you guys today. It's a great pleasure to be part of this panel. As you know, some of you that don't know me, when you guys get to meet me, you'll see what a firecracker I am, right? Like Mandy said. You know, I like to have fun, but in all, I'm with Leela. You know, giving back is so important to a lot of us. And I think it has to be part of our mission statement as well. What we do in our lives, people will see us. People can see what we do out there, and we encourage others. And by encouraging others, it really allows them to not only be that leader, but to allow others to step up and become leaders as well. That's how it all gets started, right? So I'll share a little bit of story about myself. Being in leadership not only started with me as a little girl, but you know, my parents always taught me that you have to help others all the time. I was originally born in El Salvador, came here, my first language was Spanish, so I was an ESL student. And, you know, being with students that are always talking English, you know, you need someone to help you understand. And people always helped me. So as I grew up, I felt like it was important for me to help others. Later on down the road, I needed to make sure that I helped my parents as well because their first language was Spanish. So I had to make sure that, you know, I helped them and then helped other family members and so forth. Eventually, after high school, I actually joined the Marine Corps. And there I really learned about leadership. And, you know, they teach you that you can't ever leave anybody behind, no matter if you're the slowest one or you're the fastest one. It doesn't matter if you're the strongest one or the weakest one. Me being very petite, weighing 90 pounds at the time, you know, carrying a 70-pound pack, it's hard. It takes a strain on your body, and you're having to train with men that are triple your size, right? So it got to a point, you know, and I can share a little story is, towards a crucible, when you're doing 70 miles in 2 days, right, with a 70-pound pack in your back, and you can't do it anymore, you can't carry that weight anymore, your team will come together and they will take pieces of what's in your pack and put it in their pack to help you get through it, right? And that to me was, you know, life-changing, because you learn that no matter what happens, you have to be able to help others, no matter what situation they're in. So that to me really opened up my sense of leadership within the Marine Corps. But stepping out of the Marine Corps was being able to go into your community and seeing what others needed to help them. What do you need and what can I do to serve you? So to me, the biggest thing is being a servant leader within our community. In 2018, I was awarded the Community Leader Award through the NAREP Association, which is the National Association of Hispanic Professional Realtors. And I really, you know, it's not something that I look for, it's just something that naturally happens for me. I like to go out there and see what I can do to get involved. And it's funny because doing that, and a lot of you will see that I do a lot of social media posts, and I like to post out there what we're doing, whether it's Women's Council, whether it's with our local association, whether it's with the Veterans Association of Real Estate. I like to be on social media a lot, whether it's Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook. So I've gathered a lot of attention to where I'm getting calls from other states and saying, hey, I saw that you did this event. Can you tell me what you did and how can Can you walk me through it? We want to try to have a successful event too. So that to me has empowered me to not only continue doing the whole social media part of it to show others what we do as leaders, but also giving back, right? As Leila said, going out there and giving your time is important for not only yourself, but for your community and for others in your family. I bring my kids along when I do events. I try to show them that they need to give back, whether it's a holiday drive for Christmas. I allow them to choose a toy that we're going to give to someone that's less fortunate, another family that may need it. When we're doing food drives, like Leila said, you know, let your community know that you're doing this food drive, what you're doing it for. And during COVID right now, yes, we are planning to put up the flyers out in the community and say, hey, you can leave it at the front door and we'll just pick it up, right? Those are all important for us to do. And yes, COVID has changed the way we do everything. But at the same time, you can't stop simply because of COVID, right? We need to find ways of going around it and improvising. We're good at improvising. That's another thing. I have to say that, you know, my leadership involvement doesn't just go being part of leadership within real estate. It really goes to being part of the PTSA, collecting books, finding, you know, donations to gather sports gear for the kids and you know, at school. I have 3 kids that play soccer. So I'm really involved in going out there and trying to gather money, trying to gather things that, you know, the kids are going to need to play their sports, right? As well as giving. Part of the things that we do is for our soccer league, that's a state league for my 13-year-old, if they need soccer balls, if they need tents, we actually will donate those to them as well. You know, that's part of our giving back. But within Women's Council, when I came back into real estate in 2016, I came in just like running. I said, okay, what am I going to do? How can I get involved? I'll tell you, my daughter, when I had my daughter, I took a year off of work. I stopped in the healthcare industry. I was there for 18 years. And part of that was giving back too, right? You're helping clients, you're helping patients with their health, and that was important. But coming back into real estate was, what can I do to continue working with other individuals and how can we give back? First thing was Women's Council. Women's Council opened up their wings to me and they said, hey, you know, we want you to be part of us. And right away, within 6 months, they're like, hey, would you like to be involved in the leadership part of it? Started off as a membership director, you know, eventually became president for the West Valley Network and now membership director for the state. I'm also membership director for the National Association of Hispanic Professional Realtors, part of, you know, the local association with WeServe as well. I'm the incoming West Valley chapter chair for 2021. So starting in one place has really led me to blossom into the leadership roles here within real estate. And I have to say that not only has that grown my business exponentially, I mean, what I've done this year, I haven't done in the last 3 years. I mean, it's blossomed so much, and it all has to do with how we get involved within our leadership groups, within our community involvement, posting it out there on what you're doing to help others. You know, I don't know if I'm already past my time, Mandy, but I have to say that it starts with you. If you're a leader and you ask others to help you, they will come and they will join you, and you will create other leaders within your community.
Thank you so much, Marlene. You are so incredible, so inspirational. And I think I'm going to quote you for the rest of my life on taking pieces of another's pack to put in yours so they can move forward. You know, we hear a lot of people talk about, you know, don't steal their monkey. It's not my monkey. And he's a great speaker and you all know who I'm talking about. But at the end of the day, it's kind of about, how do we do this together? How do we move forward together? And if I can lessen your load, how can I help you sustain for tomorrow? So thank you, Marlene, for that great lesson, and everything you said was just incredible. With that, we have our last speaker for this panel, and she is so good. She goes over and beyond for her clients. I am really excited to say that I am one of her managing brokers, which means I get to hear about all the amazing things she's regularly doing for other people. So Tamala, it's all you, and please take us away.
South. Okay. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, you're
Awesome.
rocking it.
All right, awesome. Well, I'm so excited and honored to be amongst all the servant leaders here in the community and serving throughout. Again, you can see how we're all just so connected in so many different ways, and how serving our community really creates this thriving industry, as well as our communities to be, which we seem to be very passionate about from all angles, right? I definitely have been in this business for a while, and I actually just love it. And I love the fact that we all tend to serve in different capacities within our communities in different real estate associations. I've found myself that I've always volunteered and served in some of the long-standing minority realtor communities, which included the National Association of Real Estate Professionals. Also served in Arizona Association of Real Estate Brokers, which is ABRAP. It's one of the longest term. NARAP is the longest minority real estate professional association next to NAR, which is so nice to see that, and also served in the Asian Association of Realtors. So obviously I haven't served in the national capacity, but I do serve in all of the local boards throughout, which is really exciting to see how well we're connected. One of the things that I'm very passionate about is empowering our community and residents through their home ownership, also local and small businesses that connect through the legislation part of it. And my give back to my community that I've served for the last, I'd probably say 10 years in regards to zoning and planning. So because I love designing subdivisions, I love working with developers and land developers, is one of the biggest impacts that you can have in your community is when you're actually able to go out and actually cause an effect on how their community is built. And is it with green spacing? Is it with revitalized parks and communities? And then working with your local elected officials to give an impact onto what we need to provide these great communities of homes for all of Arizona residents, correct? And so within that, I work also with the South Mountain South Central Transit Orient Development, which is part of the light rail. One of the biggest issues that we have is how our communities connect easily, and that our residents can actually move throughout the United States for jobs and education and fun and entertainment very easily, and that we provide people with a different mode of transportation. Also serving in zoning and planning allows us to connect that and make sure that we see how that impacts our community. One of the biggest issues that I'm working with now on a legislative part, and also building within the community with land developers and the zoning and planning, is regards to racial injustice through redlining, steering, and how minority communities were never really receiving the financial dollars and investments through the street landscaping, beautifying the community, and also the parks, which is one of the big things that we see with climate change. How that has impacted the heat zones for those communities that have less landscaping and streetscaping within that because of the unfortunate historical events that happen in regards to actual infrastructure. So it's one of the things that you can give back. It also builds a community, because within I call it my tribe, my different tribes, the zoning and community people, we have about 25 that serve on the village and planning committee. And with all of us, we come from all different industries. You create this bond of people who are allowed to share and impart, and it actually helps you to be able to have a force within that. I know that we volunteer from different perspectives, but I'm always thinking of how does it affect a child's life from the community that they grow within. Are they empowered? Do they feel empowered? Do they feel enriched? And do they feel equal? And equality is one of the bigger things that we always have to remember, especially when it comes to racial injustice, and how that works within building strong future leaders of our community, and especially how it affects young women and young girls for them to be power girls. So I love that, you know, Dina Patton is one of our girls' roles. She is such an awesome woman and power lady in our community. And I can see that Marlena Miss Gomez, Ruha, I think one of those words, so I look forward to working with all of you wonderful women and door knocking with you in regards to supporting any of your ventures that you have out there. Together to community, as long as we remember that we're building communities that can thrive, but we also have to make sure that we're working within the zoning and planning and legislation that those actually help those communities that are less fortunate financially, but also give them an opportunity to be homeowners and continue to build wealth as well. So I always like to do this little challenge, and then what it is for every one of us who are on here, and we're all leaders at heart for anything that we all touch, is that to close your eyes and think about how you can come to the party 5 years from now. If money is not an issue, what would you be doing? And see yourself as accomplishing in that. And for the next 24 hours, I want you to speak as if it's already has happened. And so I challenge all of you, let's make sure that we all stick together. We all get an opportunity to meet in person. I know we're doing the COVID, but you know, we have masks, so that's a great opportunity. And we can always do Zoom because Marvelous Mandy is always up for the challenge for us to continue this great work on highlighting some of the successful women throughout our community that definitely we're all servant leaders. And Leah, I love to see your smiling face and come work with you as well. Mary, and I look forward to providing some of my extra time that I have left to your services at AAR.
Wow, Tamala, I mean, did you hit on a lot of bullet points in a short amount of time? What I loved about your speech was that you opened it up to not saying, you know, let's look at diversity issues or inclusive issues. You said racial injustice, learning from yesterday and being proactive and solution-based for tomorrow to empower our youth and people in areas that need that empowerment more so now than ever. And every year I think it's gonna be, this year matters more than last year. And so next year, you know what I mean? We always have to be working on it. And knowing that we have someone with your mindset in our industry that can lead us in ways to make a true difference, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, we only have about 8 minutes left because you guys have a tight schedule to get things going today. So if you don't mind, I see all of your beautiful faces. If you could raise your hand like this if you have a question, because I only have time for a few of them and I'll call on you. Raise your hand. You can do it. Okay, no one has a question? You all feel like, am I the only one with side notes? Dawn, you're unmuted. Do you have a question for anybody? Oh, but I can't hear you, but you are unmuted. Okay, Cindy, go for it.
So I would love for the group to each tell us one thing that the members could do or the people on this call could do to just get started giving back. Just one thing that they think would be a good thing to start with.
Okay, well, that's going to wrap it up. So I'm going to just call on them. Leela, let's come back to you, friend, because you spoke first. I know it feels like a century.
I think just finding something you're passionate about in your community and making contact with them.
Oh, I love that. Find your heart and move forward. Mary Roberts, how about you? What can we be doing to help?
I think just reaching out to other members and asking them to get involved, whether it's coming to a meeting. We're starting our in-person meetings now. Just ask them, hey, I miss seeing you, come to do this, or get involved in something that your local organization is doing.
Now, Mary Roberts, one thing your organization's about to do is a leadership conference. So sending your friends the link, because this is the first year that you do this from your living room, your office space. So thank you, Mary Roberts and Jan Layton, for that.
Thank you.
Marlene, what can we do to help you, friend? Because you're always helping us.
Well, one of the things that I recommend is right now Thanksgiving is going to be coming and a lot of people are hurting, you know, due to COVID and loss of jobs. And just the loss of income. So one of the things that I recommend is going out to your food banks and seeing what you can do in your community to gather groceries and maybe non-perishables and canned food to give back and to help those in need.
That is awesome. You know, Susan Nicholson is also on this call, and one thing that she regularly does and does not boast or highlight, but it would inspire us all to do, is packs her trunk with turkeys. And then she goes and delivers frozen turkeys to families that she knows does not have enough to make it. And so just an idea. So thank you for that inspiration. Tamala, how about you? What can we do to help? I mean, the issues you brought to light, planning and zoning, first of all, is a huge place to get involved in our cities, but you really brought to light, you know, let's learn from and educate on why areas are the way they are, and let's make it better for the youth so they can be better citizens moving forward with a better lifestyle. How can we help?
Actually, really helping it out is, I would say that, I know that no one likes to talk about it, but make sure that you're taking the classes on diversity and inclusion, and then sometimes getting outside your own box. So, you know, we all drive all over the place in real estate, but sometimes it would take not to have a prejudgment, prejudice against different areas, but actually go into the areas and see how vibrant they are and how collective we are as a melting pot, and to be open to understanding the differences in how racial injustice has actually happened and continues.
Thank you, Tamala. Yeah, just opening our minds to being uncomfortable with some because everybody in the world, no matter who you are, we all have pre-notion thoughts, right? And we let them kind of run us. But just living outside that box, live outside that comfort zone. No one's saying be unsafe and go to a private place alone. You know, Realtor 101, never go to a private place with a stranger. But at the end of the day, opening your mind to learning other ways. And I think our children today have really been pushing us to do that. So thank you, Tamala, for continuing to blow our minds and to make this happen. And thank you for all these amazing panelists today. You've all inspired, engaged us, and motivated us to make the world better and to do it through the real estate industry, because as a realtor, you are all on this call leaders. You are true leaders that give back, and you know the only time you're ever going to get a paycheck to feed your family is when you close a house, but everything you do is giving and giving fully. So keep doing it. And that concludes our panel for this morning. So Laura Kovacs, I think I turn it back over to you, my friend.
Mandy, thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time to moderate this as well today, because we know how much you give back as well to our industry and to the community. So these are, you know, we greatly appreciate these 5 outstanding women taking time today to share with us what is special to them and giving us a chance to be a little bit introspective and think about what is special to us. And how we can make changes by doing little things every single day. And that's where it begins. It begins with you, as always. So we're gonna move into our next section. We're gonna do some breakout sessions like we did yesterday. And I want you all to get involved and fully participate in each one of these. And if you jump into a subject, I think what Corinne is gonna do is break you out into a topic. And if it's not a topic that's working for you, then just come back out of the breakout room and Corinne will move you on. But we had some great conversations yesterday during the breakout sessions. So today we're going to go into 4 breakout rooms as well. We're going to do success systems with Melissa Zimbelman. Melissa is with Lux International Realty and Property Management. She's currently the national president for the Women's Council of Realtors and is on the MLS committee at her local board. Melissa, are you here? Say hi. Maybe not. We'll go on.
I saw her.
Pardon me?
I did see her come in.
Okay. So we just got to find her. The second roundtable section, second breakout room is going to be the Roadmap to Leadership with Mary Roberts. She is, of course, the current Arizona Association of Realtors President Extraordinaire. And as Mandy called her, the GOAT, So I've never heard a goat being complimentary before, but that kind of worked for me. SARS president, our own association president, the fabulous Cindy Reddy, and also Pam Ruggierioli, I hope I attempted to do it right, with Long Realty in Tucson. She's been a realtor for over 19 years and will be the first vice president of the Residential Real Estate Council in 2021. So we welcome Pam as well. Time blocking with Susan Nicholson. She's been in the real estate business for 25 years and is the owner and designated broker of Sun Cactus Realty, as well as the owner of Sun Cactus School of Real Estate. Susan is an obsessed color coding time blocker and is evidenced by an impressive array of colorful pens, markers, and highlighters. I guess she's going to show us how to use them. And Stacy Krolak, who is involved in the Women's Council of Realtors currently, our RAPAC and Girls Rule Foundation. She has been elected as the 2021 National Liaison to the Central Region Women's Council of Realtors and is also running for the board of directors this year for SAR. The fourth breakout room will be Finding Peacefulness with Cindy Ayers, who specialized in Pilates, fitness, and general nutrition for the past 20 years. The breakout rooms are going to be open for 55 minutes, ladies, approximately, and during that time you can jump in and out, as I said. We're going to randomly put you into your first room, and then you can stay there for a few minutes, talk about the topic, listen to what everybody has to say, and you're welcome to jump out and go into another session. Once you get back into the main meeting room again, when the breakout rooms are closed, we will be taking a quick 5-minute break and then jump into our 2 main speakers for the day. So I hope you all learned something new, and ready, set, go, Corinne. Send them all to outer space or whatever that space is where breakout rooms go.